What is going on, guys? It's your boy Carspec. Welcome to this video. Today I'm gonna be talking about my thoughts on this game, Need for Speed Unbound. This game came out about 2 weeks ago, and I'll just like to speak about my thoughts about this game. And yeah, that's what we're gonna talk about. So for a quick disclaimer, I would like to talk about obviously the elephant in the room, the watermark at the top right screen, the KaiMaster thing, and I would like to speak on as why it's there. Well, why is it there? Well, it's there only because it's hard to explain, but there's one thing about it. It's either that or have a blurry thing at the top right of the screen, at the top right corner. So yeah, you guys can decide in the comments down below if you guys want either the blurriness on the top right corner, or just have the watermark there. I think the watermark is better in my opinion, but you guys can decide what you guys would rather have, because that's what I have to deal with right now, and I'm not gonna bother try another editing software or whatever, or editing app or whatever. KaiMaster's the best. I don't care. And okay, so anyway, let's talk about my thoughts on this game. First thing I would like to get off the rip, this game is better than Heat. Okay, I like this game better than Heat, and Heat was a very good game in my opinion. I feel like that game was kind of saved the Need for Speed franchise in a way. Like, if you look at the games that came out before that, 2015 Payback, those games didn't really do it for the majority of the fan base. For me, I played 2015. 2015 did not do it for me. Payback, I didn't play Payback, but a lot of people did not like Payback, and a lot of people were just downing the franchise from then on. And the game, and honestly, the franchise has been having a bad reputation since throughout the entirety of 2010, the 2010s. So yeah, for Heat to come out like as a good game, like it was just amazing. Like, and I haven't really talked about Heat in this channel that much. Like, I only made one video on the game, but I would just like to tell you that I love that game, and yeah, it saved the franchise in my opinion. I feel like it just saved the franchise. So for this game to set off the foundation of what that game let out, it's great. Like, and it did a lot of things better than that game did. So I would like to speak on that. So first thing I would like to say is the graphics. Graphics are obviously a good thing about this game. Like, you cannot deny the graphics of this game. It's obviously not Forza Horizon 5 or the Forza games in general, but it is really strong in terms of the graphic department. For the lighting is a lot better than Heat's lighting. Heat's lighting was kind of a mixed bag. Like, in the day, it kind of felt a bit dry if it wasn't raining and if it wasn't in the sunset. And for the nighttime, it was good, but like the day was very lacking in terms of lighting. The lighting in this game is a lot better, and the lighting for games in general just make a huge difference, and this game just clearly shows that compared to Heat, when you compare this game to Heat. And also obviously the night is good as well, but I feel like Heat's lighting in the night was a bit better. But anyway, we'll go past that. But yeah, the map is a lot better than the one in Heat's in my opinion. I enjoyed the city as much as I did in Heat's city. Lakeshore City is as good as Palm City, like in terms of the city. But what does it for me in terms of this game that does a lot better than Heat is definitely the countryside. The countryside is a lot better in this game than it was in Heat. Heat was very dry. It was very, very, very lifeless in that game. In the city it wasn't really, but when you go in the countryside, man, you might as well just make yourself think that you're the last person alive in that game, because that's what you really felt like. For this game, however, it's completely different. Like I really like the countryside in this game. Like the mountainous areas and the locations are much more intriguing to me than it was in Heat, and that's why I can really say about the map. Like it really does it for me this time. Handling is another improvement from Heat's. It's the game is a lot better in terms of gripping. Gripping actually like exists, is actually like a proper thing now. And Heat, it did exist, but you kind of still need to like drift in the corner in order to get through the corner like properly. And Unbound now, you can properly grip your car. You can properly put grip tunes on your car, whatever, on your cars, and they would actually go through the corners like they would in like Forza Horizon, for example. And obviously the handling is not as like simulation as Forza Horizon is, but even Forza Horizon isn't even like that simulation kind of, but this game does it in a way that it still feels arcadey. So that's what I like about this game. Like the grip handling is really good, and the drift handling is still the same. Like the brake to drift is still the same as it was in Heat, and it's still what you would want from a game in it. Another improvement is the single player layout, like how it works leading towards finishing the game. In Heat it was kind of just you do a couple of races and a couple of missions, and that was really it. For this game now, there's all kinds of stuff happening. You got weeks leading up to, you got 4 weeks leading up to this final set of events or set of races called the Grand. The end of each of the first 3 weeks before the Grand Week is where you have to do a qualifier, and the qualifier is where you have to put up a huge buy-in in order to go and do the events, in which it will lock you to a certain class of the car. Like for example, the first qualifier was just A class, and then second qualifier is A plus, and then the third qualifier is S, I'm guessing. And that's how it is for the weeks in general. Obviously the first week you're focusing on A class, second week you're focused on A plus, third week you're focusing on S, and then obviously fourth week you're focusing on S plus. Now there's going to be some other classes you're going to be doing here and there, but mainly you're focusing on those classes for those weeks. And for the normal events that you go up to, they're all sectioned into a car meet, in which that they're all different within every day. So you're going to be doing all kinds of different events and all such, or going up to different locations and such, in which you have to buy in order to go into those events. Some is only worth $0, but you would actually have to buy in to go to those events in order to attend those events. And this game does a good job of that. I like the fact that this game is doing something different from the other Need for Speeds and the racing games in general. You never really see things like this. You also can put up a side bet against the AI to get more money in the event, which is a nice touch. I like that. Outside of the events, there's no day and night cycle as it was in Heat, so you have to go back to the garage in order to buy in or to cash in your money or bank it, as it was like in Heat as well, and it was like in Rivals as well. So but the thing is that the nighttime is, you can't choose whenever you want for the day and night, because you're going through weeks, and you can't do that post finish the game either. But anyway, I like the single player as a whole. Like, I like the layout, it's better than Heat's. It gives you more of a reason to want to finish the game more, and more of a motivation, and it gets you intrigued as well, especially because the single player and the multiplayer are completely separate in terms of progression. Difficulty is another thing that's pretty good about this game. This is proof from Heat. It actually serves a purpose, and it actually sets a difference. In Heat, like, the difficulty didn't really do much, but in this game it actually means something. Like, the hardest difficulty is actually more difficult than the easiest difficulty, and that's why I like. Multiplayer is another thing that has improved than in Heat. It's not hard to improve on that game's multiplayer. However, there is one problem about it. It's still kind of similar as to what it was like in Heat. It's still only lots of free roam, and you have to invite players to still race them. However, the races themselves are a lot more competitive than the ones in Heat. For one, there's no AI, so it's just you versus players, and PvP. The other reason is my next point, why I like to bring up, and it is the car class system. The car class system is a lot better than it was in Heat. In Heat, it was just based off of numbers, so all your cars in your garage were the highest stats possible, which is 400 plus. And that was really it for Heat. Like, you're only driving 400 plus cars once you got to the point where you could get or upgrade your cars to 400 plus. For this game, we actually got classes now: B, A plus, S, and S plus. So now within your garage, you can put up which car you would want for B class, whichever car you would want for A class, whichever car you want for A plus. You get the gist. This encourages a lot more time tuning cars, customizing cars, etc., testing out more cars, buying new cars, all kinds of stuff. And that really is a very good strong suit side of the game. And yeah, overall this game is better than Heat in my opinion, and I think that this game is the best modern Need for Speed that we've gotten. And but obviously there is still some problems that this game has, and I would like to address them right now, and what this game could improve on in terms of those bad stuff. One thing I would like to get out of the way is the character customization. The character customization could be a lot more diverse, and there could be a lot more options, and that's all I really gotta say about it. Like, there could be a lot more colors for all kinds of different stuff. I feel like there's limitations that shouldn't be a thing, but it is what it is, I guess. I would just like to get that out of the way right now. Drifting is another thing. The drifting in general, like break to drift, like if you're doing just break to drift, that's not a problem. Like it's like it was like what it was in the past few games. The problem is the actual drifting, like when you're actually drifting your drift car. That is a problem. Obviously I had a little section where I was drifting in this video, but it's not very good. It's actually kind of horrific. It's worse than it was in Heat. And the problem is that you can't really hold drifts anymore. Like, you can't really hold long drifts anymore in let's say like a mountainous area anymore, and that is a really big problem and should be addressed, or like tuned up or fixed up criteria, and do what you have to do. Like, this is not a good thing for people that are trying to complete this game with the drift zones, or do the drift events, or the whatever, it doesn't matter, or people that like drifting in general. It's not good. This is coming from someone that has a whole series of just drifting cars, and I'm kind of just baffled of this handling. And yeah, like it has nothing to do with the tuning system or whatever. 100% drift cars with drift tires just doesn't work. Like, the cars just like to grip up too instantly when you just initiating into the drift. The car will drift and then will just grip up eventually, and that's not the that it shouldn't be like that. At least in heat, you're able to kind of hold drifts a little bit. In this game, you just cannot, and that is a big problem. Another thing is the cops. The cops are, let's say, underwhelming to say the very least. They're not as bad as they were in 2015, and they're not as bad as they were in Most Wanted in 2012, but they're not good either, and it is a big downgrade compared to the last few games. I feel like they have the potential of being as good as the Heat Cops, but are just laid back for some reason. The next thing that will be beneficial for only single player players is extra side missions or events post finish the game. You know, obviously that will motivate a couple of players that can't play multiplayer to keep playing single player, or you know, to earn more money or whatever. You know, not all of us have Wi-Fi and online, or want to play online in general, you know. So you know, it will be beneficial for those players. And honestly, if you have some cards in multiplayer that you don't have in single player, that you want to earn in single player, it will be good for those players, you know what I mean? So, you know, that's the case I'm trying to put out with you. Multiplayer is another thing. Multiplayer can be a lot better. There should be separate modes for free roam and player versus player. Like, I don't know why that's not the case for this game, but it's kind of a problem here. Like, obviously you can still have the free roam and the player versus player within one, which that this game offers. Like, you know, you can invite in players and to do races with them. That's fine, but there needs to be a separate player versus player mode that people can just go in and just do it that way, as opposed to going into free roam, having to invite players. It's just a hassle if you have to do it that way and have to keep doing it that way. Obviously more modes can be beneficial, like for example drifting and the takeover events are not in multiplayer. Like, I don't know why it's not multiplayer. As well as have some cops as well. Cops will be pretty good as well. Maybe you can add in like a cost to state, which will give you money whenever you lose them. You know, the longer the pursuit, the higher the cost, and obviously heats, you know, the higher the cost. You know, it will be good for, you know, thing. Obvious, and another thing is there should be single races. I don't know why there isn't. You know, it's kind of a hassle to do 3 races for, you know, in order to get kind of a bit of money. And yeah, like that's really that's the case there. There should also be more players within the crew as well. Like, I don't know why there isn't 8. Like, it's just 4 for some reason, which is a downgrade from Heat, and is a big downgrade if you want to just play with friends. I played with a couple of friends a couple of days ago, and it was a hassle trying to get more you couldn't even get more players to play with you within one session or one server. More than 4, like, you couldn't do it. I couldn't invite anybody, and I'm on an Xbox, by the way. I couldn't invite anybody or whatever. It was just like, if you have 4 players within the crew, which is max, you can't invite anybody else to hop in the server as well. So in which case, that's kind of a downgrade in Heat compared to Heat, which you were able to invite more players within the server. That if you have max players of this in the party, and you were able to do 8 and not 4, for, you know. So yeah, that needs to be improved. and also have more players within the server as well. Like if you're gonna complete, or if you're gonna keep this free roam, let's say if you not have a separate PvP mode, if you're gonna keep this free roam plus PvP thing, you need to have more players within the server, because 16 is too low. Like 16 is way too low, especially if you're trying to do races with people. Like it's hard to do that when most of the time people just don't see it and click on it and say, oh yeah, I want to do this. Like it's kind of difficult in that standpoint. And one last thing that I'm gonna say about what they can improve on is the economy. The economy is very, very poor in this game. The races in single player and multiplayer are it's just very low. It's kind of like a Gran Turismo 7 type of deal here, like type of situation. And it's not very excessive to that point, like to that degree. Like I wasn't when Gran Turismo 7 launched, but it could be really improved. It could be really like it needs to be changed. Criterion, you need to increase it, because these payouts for doing 3 races in multiplayer are just terrible. Like the max you can get for doing 3 races in multiplayer is 2K, and for like winning first place, if you don't have the multiplayer on, for if you just go up against one player, which is mainly what happens in this game, is kind of just dreadful. And really kind of big grind, and it's leading to a point where people are doing money glitches, including myself. It's just not worth the grind, to be honest with you, and that's not what I want to have to deal with, besides, you know, obtaining cars, which I have absolutely no problem with, because I can just do that. But yeah, those are the problems I have with this game. But overall, like I said earlier, this game is better than Heat, and it is pretty strong of a game. I honestly enjoying this game a lot more in the first month than I was enjoying Forza Horizon 5 in the first month. And like, that's for sure. Like, this game intrigued me a lot more than Horizon 5 did in the first month. So that's all I like about it. That's what I gotta say about this game. Like, it's really good. And Criterion, I hope you do a good job with the updates and all the things you have to do with this game, and we have to do with the future Need for Speed. Like, I would love to see a lot more games and all that kind of stuff. Like, but yeah, Criterion, you did a good job, and just keep doing it for the next few next Need for Speeds and for the updates of this game. So yeah, but anyways guys, that's gonna be it for this video. I hope you guys liked it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry for being kind of lackluster throughout this month. I know I was supposed to pump out a lot more videos, but I've been kind of having problems with my how I was, you know, supposed to edit and all that kind of stuff. And I know those are their excuses and things or whatever, but this watermark thing is a good example of that, as well as my old phone breaking down. That's another reason, and that's a reason as to why I'm having this watermark thing as well. But yeah, I have this new phone. I'm editing on this new phone now, so that's why videos are now coming up at 4K. Not really exactly a 4K, but upscale 4K, or 1080p vids upscale to 4K. But you know, it's still 4K. Come on, like, it's still 4K. But you know, that's what we have to go and deal with. But that's it guys, catch y'all next time.